Mega controversy alert 2022.
This story is just, it is so demonstrative of everything that the left has become.
Here's the problem. Dave Chappelle sort of, kind of, like once or twice contradicted the leftist orthodoxy. And Patton Oswalt is a leftist coward. Patton Oswalt decided to spend his new year and the following days stabbing his friend of many decades, Dave Chappelle, in the back. Because Dave Chappelle did him a favor, and then Patton Oswalt got pushback from the liberal mob, and so Patton Oswalt decided to try to throw his friend, his much more talented and famous friend, over the side of the boat.
Just a few days ago, when Oswalt was performing at a comedy club, apparently in Seattle, and his, as he says, dear friend of 34 years, Dave Chappelle, texted him and invited him to come next door to the arena where Chappelle was performing, doing his own performance, and he said that Oswalt could do a guest set there at his performance. So Chappelle was at an arena because he's a big popular comedian, and Patton Oswalt was at a small club because nobody cares about him. But Chappelle said, why don't you come over and you can perform in front of my bigger audience? You know, it's a nice thing to offer. Now, why did Chappelle offer that? I guess Chappelle was angry with his audience that night and wanted to punish them by subjecting them to Patton Oswalt. I don't know. We can't be sure exactly, but Oswalt took him up on the invitation. And later that night, he took a picture with Dave Chappelle and posted it to his Instagram.
The caption read, "Finished my set and got a text from Dave Chappelle. Come over to the arena he's performing in next door and do a guest set. Why not? I waved goodbye to this hell year with a genius I started comedy with 34 years ago. He works in an arena like he's talking to one person and charming their skin off. Anyway, I ended the year with a real friend and a deep laugh. Can't ask for much more." Okay, and for normal people, that is a nice thing to post on Instagram. You got to collaborate with a fellow comedian, someone who you've known for a long time over the span of both of your careers. That's nice, let's move on. But no, says social media, because you see, Dave Chappelle is not just any comedian. He is a well-known bigot and TERF. Therefore, even taking a photo with him apparently is unacceptable.
So Patton Oswalt then had to reverse himself, because cowards don't get killed, they get their friends killed. Cowards are the people who ensure that their friends are the ones thrown under the bus. In fact, they help with throwing under the bus. I hope that Dave Chappelle goes to war with Patton Oswalt. I desperately hope it, because Patton Oswalt deserves it.
Here's what he wrote. He said, I saw a friend I hadn't seen in a long time, New Year's Eve. We've known each other since we were teens. He's a fellow comedian, the funniest I've ever met. I wanted to post a pic and an IG story about it, so I did. The friend is Dave Chappelle. 34 years we've been friends. We've done good and bad gigs, open mics and TV tapings, but we also 100% disagree about transgender rights and representation. I'm an LGBTQ ally. I'm a loyal friend. I'm sorry, truly sorry, that I didn't consider the hurt this would cause or the depth of that hurt. I wanted a nice comment thread about a picture with my friend. So easy to think someone else needs growth and miss the need in yourself. Gonna keep trying.
Oh, isn't that nice? But he's not really talking about the growth of himself. Most of that post is about how Dave Chappelle needs to grow and change. And the only reason he's staying friends with Dave Chappelle is because he hopes that Dave Chappelle will one day come to embrace his own views. Right now, his excuse is, I still think I can make a difference with Dave. I can save Dave. I can make Dave an LGBTQ plus IA open caret British pound sign ampersand ally. And because of that, I'm still going to be friends with Dave. But if he can't, well, then isn't he obligated to throw Dave under the bus? And isn't that really what he's doing right now? He's saying that the reason that he's friends with Dave is because he's superior to Dave. This is so much of the virtue signaling, right? It is all about, for people like Patton Oswalt, it is all about signaling to everyone that they are better than you. He's so introspective. He's so thoughtful. He's so wonderful, right? He's right on the issues, and he's broad-minded enough to know that his stupid friend doesn't believe what he believes, and that one day his stupid friend may come to believe what he believes.
This ridiculous nonsense. I mean, if you listen to the stuff Dave Chappelle said about the trans situation, 99% of it is just him talking about how ridiculous the debate is around it. You say one thing that's slightly out of line and you get blown up, blasted on Twitter. Everyone hates you immediately. And I thought about one time I heard a really interesting point on this matter from a comedian. His name, Patton Oswalt.
I could not be a more committed progressive, feminist, pro-gay, pro-transgender person, but I cannot keep up with the glossary of correct terms. I'm trying. I want to help, but holy, it's like a secret club pass where they change it every week, and then you're in trouble. That's not the word we use. It was last week.
That's the entire debate in a nutshell.
I just hope that in all his scurrying, he doesn't accidentally bump into this other comedian who has said way more problematic things about trans people. So Patton Oswalt, watch out for this guy. His name is also Patton Oswalt. Watch.
You said this is for like families and kids? Because this sounds really grim and creepy. Well, you didn't let me finish. Because we're also going to have men in bright clothing and makeup. Time out. You mean like transvestites, right? Well, technically, yes, but they're going to keep going so that they're clowns. You realize a clown is just a transvestite that doesn't stop. If you saw a guy in lipstick and eyeshadow, you'd be like, Timmy, leave him alone. That's his own thing. The guy's like, oh no, hang on. Woo! Like, oh, Timmy, he's a wonderful clown. Get over there. I didn't know you'd use a whole tube of lipstick on one cheek. Please, entertain my child. Run at him out of the darkness. He'll love it.
But Dave Chappelle's a terrible person because he said that men are not women. This is something about these people, the Patton Oswalts of the world, the Liz Cheneys of the world, and the people who take their side, that is, it's the insult to the injury. The disloyalty would be bad enough. The cowardice would be bad enough. The ignorance and naivete that if you just grovel to the mob, they won't attack you anymore, which just never actually happens. If you just apologize for something that you haven't done wrong, then maybe the mob will move on. But it's also the dishonesty. They don't believe this stuff. Patton Oswalt and Dave Chappelle, I seriously doubt, disagree on the transgender stuff. What Patton Oswalt just said about transgenderism is way more offensive than anything Dave Chappelle has said. It's just the cowardice.
Now, look, people have posted photos with me that they later regretted.
Yes.
They were family photos. But this was so lame to do this. There's so many things he could have done differently. The first thing he could have done was not reply to any of it.
Right.
That's the way you handle this. You let it go away, and then they move on, like any other bully, they move on to someone else who responds and gives them that juice that they need. Mm-hmm. So what he should have said was, and this is really sad, that 30-something years of friendship, and to sacrifice it for the approval of a mob of people that you don't even know, it's really lame, and it doesn't work.
You know, a few years ago when Oswalt was jumping on the dog pile to slander the Covington Catholic kids as racists, he tweeted this about them. He said that they are, quote, bland, frightened, forgettable kids who will grow up to be bland, frightened, forgotten adult wastes. That was a grown man talking about 15-year-old kids at the time, by the way. But he should have been talking to a mirror because he described himself and his ilk perfectly. Bland, frightened, forgettable. Couldn't have said it better myself.